Now, if you're listening carefully, this secret is going to allow you to use terminology for the computer to debug your consciousness all day long and ask, what guna am I being dragged by, affected by? What am I associating with? The rule of the gunas is what you like, you become like. What you associate with, you take on the characteristics. That makes an impression upon you. The impression becomes your new normal. Namaste. Welcome to Vedic Vidya. My name is Jeffrey Armstrong, Kavindra Rishi. Vedic Vidya is available exclusively on Citti Media English channel on Sunday nights at 7 p.m. IST. Our topic tonight is why the three gunas, or energetic states of matter, hold the keys to peace in our world, or how to live within the laws of nature in peace and global cooperation. The Vedic knowledge of India has many departments because its goal is to give us guidance in working with all of the complexities of the world that we find ourselves within. Some of those principles in the Veda are so pivotal that to someone like myself, who at first did not have them, went without them, got several degrees at universities, studied subjects like psychology, history, literature, comparative religion, still without these particular ways of looking at what was happening. Once I found them, once they came to me from the Vedic Vidya, I felt like a scientist who had made massive discoveries and who now had tools of perception so that I could look at any situation and see it in a stable way, so that I could stabilize my perception. So what I'd like you to think is that I'm going to give you a few pieces of Vedic Vidya that will now and in the future be the building blocks on everything that I say to explain the Vedic library. Each of these comes with a vocabulary. There are no English words for the things I'm about to explain, so it is very important to use the Sanskrit. So let's start at our perceptual beginning. We come into this world and see things swirling about us, but at a certain point we should have a very clear idea that at one point they're created, at another point they end. So quickly this becomes to us the beginning, the middle, and the end. Deceptively simple. That everything has a creative beginning, and that's a particular process. Then, if you wish the thing to last, there's a way of handling it that will optimize how long it lasts. And there's another way of handling it that will destroy it immediately or quickly, shortly thereafter. So these turn out to be the three dynamic states of matter. The scientific name for this destructive force is entropy. The nature of matter is entropy. Why? Because it's little particles of matter assembled together cleverly in strings of cause and effect, which are built up into something which appears to be a whole unit, but is in fact the sum of its parts, or the result of its parts. But certainly it is made of parts. And this brings us to the first philosophical question that Western civilization was never confronted with. The question is, what is the difference between I, the observer, and this process of things being created, existing for a while, or we could call it being maintained for a while, and then disassembling and returning to their smaller constituent parts? This is being conducted like a scientific conversation because it is a scientific conversation, which is what's so interesting about the Vedas. Everything I've said so far doesn't require one bit of faith from you, just observation. If you observe carefully, you'll see that all the matter that's traveling with you, whether it's your skin or your clothing, has not always been with you, but was acquired along the way and shed constantly. We're constantly shedding particles of matter. So at the very core of that is the next vocabulary. But first, let's have names for those three. The creative stage of matter is called Rajas, R-A-J-A-S. The entropic, destructive, breaking apart stage is called Tamas, T-A-M-A-S. And the place where everything is in balance and holding together is called Sattvas, or Sat. Raja Guna, Tama Guna, or Tamo Guna, and Sattva Guna. And the fourth component is we, the observer, whose consciousness is pervading this body and through it experiencing the world around us. But as a scientist, you can see that there is nothing in the world around us that is not subject to creation, existing for a while, and then coming out of existence and going back to its components. If this was science only for building machines or changing our relation to matter physically, that would be one thing. But this science is now going to be applied to who am I as well. And this, instead of being something you learn late in life, or when you're completely mature as an adult, this is the first kindergarten teaching that everyone in the Vedic culture receives. Number one, their consciousness, or Chit, the name of our broadcast channel. The consciousness, or Chit, is emanating from a particle that is different than the rest of matter, known as Prakriti. That particle is what we call self in English. But in Sanskrit it's called Atma. It's the atomic, and that word came from Atma. It's Latin, atome, and it means you can't cut it. So the basic premise, to make this very simple, just 4 things to know. We, the conscious entities, are called Atma. We're the atomic particle of an energy that came from a realm known as Brahman. That realm is not built of inert substances. It is fully conscious. And according to the Vedic teachings, at a certain point, we emanated from that realm, came here, entered within matter, and once here, Our consciousness comes from our now buried Atma, which is buried beneath this pile of three gunas, of matter piled up so that it works and connected, so that consciousness enlivens it, powers it, if you will. So this distinction between the three gunas of matter, in other words, the coverings and states of matter, this shirt as brand new, worn for a while, taken good care of, worn out, disposed of, deconstructed. That's the Guna process. The observer of that whole process, the Atma. The Atma cannot decompose, deconstruct, or to put it simply in English, cannot die. The three gunas then are the way that we do things within matter. There's a creative phase, there's a maintaining phase, and a destructive phase. Every day we fix dinner, eat dinner, pass stool, go to the toilet, remove the waste, put in the new food, get rid of the waste. All day long we're doing this process to some degree or the other. The observer of that is supposed to be us. So in the Vedic definition, illusion is when the gunas confuse us about who we are because of the flurry of action going on within matter. So this is very important because the gunas are how we choose what to eat, what to do, where to go, because not only are they a verb, they're a noun. As a verb, they're a state of being. As a noun, every object has a guna. Every person behaves more or less, now watch, creatively and is constantly creating new reality, maintains what they have very diligently, or is quite destructive by nature and intrinsically breaks things, destroys things, even purposely. As a matter of fact, you could pick out three people you know. One who personifies intense creative activity, always moving, always hungry, full of desires, wanting more and more and more. Or yourself in a particular mood, being like that. Then there could be the destructive person who doesn't care, who destroys things in a moment, who's unnoticing, uncaring, unconscious. Tamas, the first rajas, and then sattva, the careful state of balance where what you do brings the results that are the most harmonious with nature. Now, if you're listening carefully, this secret is going to allow you, to use terminology for the computer, to debug your consciousness all day long and ask, what guna am I being dragged by, affected by? What am I associating with? The rule of the gunas is what you like, you become like. What you associate with, you take on the characteristics. That makes an impression upon you. The impression becomes your new normal. If you hang out with the destructive people, you'll become it. If you hang out with the creative people, you'll become it. If you hang out with the enlightened people and the balanced people, that will become your nature. So the gunas are the basis of our interface to matter. The next component is the elements themselves, and Vedic science is based on these three premises. The body's made of 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, space. Nature operates through 3 gunas: rajas, tamas, and sattva. And the power behind it is the consciousness or chit of the Atma. So the last thing to know is that because matter is orbiting, because all the planets are orbiting, because everything here is cyclic, because the seasons are changing, then everything around us is twisting and turning. So now we're ready for the primary aphorism of yoga. Yogas, chit, vritti, nirodha. The word we need to know is vritti, and it means twisting. So everything around us is twisting by orbits, by cycles, by seasons. Now think of those gunas as they're called ropes or strands. Think of them as threads of red, rajas, blue, tamas, and yellow, the three primary colors. Now think that nature is weaving a life for us by those gunas that are always changing around us, by what we associate with, by what we instigate, and our primary platform of action is one of those three gunas. We're either more balanced and sattvic, more rajasic and extreme, or more tamasic and unconscious. What you associate with changes your guna, and your vrittis are the twisted parts of your nature that were twisted by the automatic external gunic forces twisting you. This is the basis of Vedic science. And with this in mind, you'll see the gunas everywhere. You'll ask the guna of the moment, the guna of a person. Instead of thinking of it as making a judgment about them, it's an objective question. Are they clean or are they not clean? Not clean, tamas. Clean, sattva. In between, rajas. Are they only selfish and self-motivated and self-desiring and only acting for themselves? Rajas. Are they also destructive and dismissive and don't care? Tamasic. Are they balanced between those two, using both but staying centered and caring about others and harmonizing with the laws of nature? Sattvic. Now you're ready to be an Atma visiting the realm of matter. This is the platform of Vedic Vidya. We are all here on a visitor's visa. We are Atmas exploring the realm of matter. But here's the secret. Look around you. Most people first don't know this. So they're lost. They're buried in matter. And what happens in matter they call self. They call me. They say helplessly, unconsciously, this is me, this is all they see. And this means I see you as the Atma inside Prakriti, the place of cause and effect, matter, run by the three gunas. And I see you as the consciousness, the chit, that is experiencing all of that. And I see that that is like sunshine shining out from your Atma. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we should have been taught in first grade. This is the C-spot run of Vedic knowing. With these three gunas and an understanding of yourself as the Atma and your consciousness as the chit faculty, you will be able to meditate in such a way that you remove the vrittis. Vedic Vidya means shining the light of truth. Tune in to Vedic Vidya on the Citti Media English channel Sunday nights at 7 p.m. IST. My name is Govinda Rishi, Jeffrey Armstrong. See you next time. And have a namaste.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. धन्यवाद, नमस्कार.